The winter evening in Chicago was unforgiving. Wind rushed between tall buildings like it was searching for warmth and finding none. On a quiet street near a closed subway entrance, Emily Carter, aged 26, sat on a metal bench clutching a thin jacket around her shoulders. It wasn't enough. Nothing ever was anymore. Just 6 months ago, Emily had an apartment, a job at a printing company, and plans she believed in. Then her father's illness drained her savings. Medical bills piled up. When he passed, grief followed closely behind eviction notices. One missed paycheck turned into many, and pride kept her from asking for help, until the streets answered instead. Snowflakes landed on her dark hair, melting slowly as she stared at people rushing past. Couples, families, everyone had somewhere to go. Emily didn't. Her shoes had holes, her fingers were numb, and hunger sat heavy in her stomach. That's when she noticed a child. A small boy, maybe 5 years old, stood a few steps away. He wore a blue winter coat too big for him and a bright red scarf wrapped twice around his neck. In his hands was a paper cup filled with hot chocolate. The steam curled into the cold air. "Are you cold?" the boy asked softly. Emily blinked, surprised. "A little," she answered honestly. The boy looked down at her trembling hands, then back up with serious eyes far too thoughtful for his age. Without hesitation, he stepped forward and held out the cup. "You can have mine," he said. "Daddy says sharing keeps people warm." Before Emily could respond, a man approached. He looked to be in his late 30s, tall, wearing a worn brown coat. His face showed exhaustion, but kindness lived in his eyes. "I'm sorry," the man said gently. "My son has a big heart." Emily shook her head quickly. "No, it's okay. He's very kind." The man knelt beside the boy. "Ethan, remember what I told you?" Ethan nodded. "Help when you can." The man sighed softly, then looked at Emily. "My name is Michael Reed. We were heading home, but no one should be out here like this." Emily hesitated. Trust had burned her before. But the warmth from the cup in her hands told a different story. "Just for tonight," Michael said carefully. "A meal, a place to sleep, no expectations." Emily felt something crack inside her, fear mixed with hope. "Okay," she whispered. Snow continued to fall, but for the first time in months, Emily stood up. Not alone. Michael's house wasn't big, but it was warm. The heater hummed softly, filling the quiet rooms with comfort Emily had forgotten existed. The smell of soup drifted from the kitchen, and for a moment she just stood there, unsure how to breathe in a place like this. Ethan tugged at her sleeve. "You can sit here," he said, pointing to the couch. Emily smiled weakly and sat, feeling the softness beneath her. It felt unreal. Over dinner, Michael didn't ask too many questions. He simply talked. About his work as a delivery driver, about Ethan's obsession with dinosaurs, about how the house had felt empty since Ethan's mother passed away a year earlier. "She was the light of this place," Michael said quietly. "After she was gone, everything felt colder." Emily understood that kind of cold. That night she slept in the guest room. Clean sheets, a blanket thick enough to block out fear. She cried silently into the pillow, not from sadness, but relief. Days passed. One night became several. Emily helped with dishes. She walked Ethan to school. Michael never treated her like charity. He treated her like a person. Eventually, Emily shared her story. The layoffs, the hospital bills, the slow fall into homelessness that didn't come from addiction or crime, just bad timing and worse luck. Michael listened without interrupting. "Life doesn't ask permission before it breaks you," he said. "What matters is whether someone helps you stand back up." With Michael's help, Emily applied for jobs. She landed a part-time position at a local bookstore. It wasn't much, but it was a beginning. Ethan grew attached quickly. Every night he insisted Emily read him a story. "Mom used to read like that," he said once. Emily's chest ached, but in a good way. One evening, Ethan asked, "Are you leaving?" Emily froze. She looked at Michael, unsure. Michael met her eyes and nodded gently. "If you want to stay," he said, "this door doesn't close easily." Emily swallowed hard. She had lost everything once, but here, she was building something new. "Then I'll stay," she said. Ethan smiled wider than she'd ever seen, and for the first time in a long while, Emily felt like she belonged somewhere again. Spring arrived slowly, melting away the last reminders of winter. With it came changes Emily never thought she'd see again. Her job at the bookstore became full-time. She saved money, bought new clothes, regained pieces of herself she thought were lost forever. But healing wasn't instant. Some nights, Emily still woke up panicked, afraid she'd be back on the street. Michael noticed. He never pushed, just made sure coffee was ready in the mornings, and the house felt steady. Ethan changed too. He laughed more, slept through the night. His teachers mentioned how much happier he seemed. One afternoon, Emily found Michael sitting alone, holding an old photo of his wife. "She would have liked you," he said quietly. "She believed family isn't always blood." Emily sat beside him. "Ethan saved me," she said, "even if he doesn't know it." Michael smiled sadly. "I think you saved us too." That night, Ethan walked into the living room wearing pajamas, rubbing his eyes. "Can I ask something?" he said. Emily nodded. "Can you stay forever?" The question hung in the air. Emily looked at Michael. He nodded, this time without hesitation. "If you'll have me," Emily said softly, "I'd like that." Ethan ran forward and hugged her tightly. "Good," he said. "I already told my teacher you're my mom." Emily laughed through tears. Outside, the city moved fast as always. But inside that house, time slowed just enough for 3 broken hearts to become whole again. A year later, Emily stood in the same neighborhood where everything began. The subway entrance was busy, the bench still cold, but she wasn't the same person. She carried grocery bags now. She had keys in her pocket. She had a family waiting at home. Michael teased her for always being early. Ethan complained about homework and hugged her before she could remind him twice. That night, as they sat together eating dinner, Emily realized something important. Kindness doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes quietly, in the hands of a child, in a cup of warmth, in a door left open just long enough. Emily had once believed her story was over. She was wrong. It had only just begun.